Hello and welcome to all of you viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Circle on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Ubong Usoro. A quick reminder, Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Vice President Kashim Shettima says the federal government will not tolerate any attempts by terrorists to occupy Nigerian territory following renewed insurgents attacks in parts of Borno State. He said President Bola Tinubu has already ordered a full mobilization of the country's security architecture, including additional tactical assets and intelligence reinforcements to confront the attackers and restore stability. Shettima also assured that those responsible for the attacks and abduction would face the full force of the law as authorities work to rescue victims and secure affected communities. In the meantime, the federal government says it is preparing plans to evacuate about 1,000 Nigerians from Iran as tensions escalate in the Middle East following the widening regional conflicts. Officials say the move is aimed at protecting citizens in the affected areas as security conditions remain uncertain and travel disruptions increase across the region. Authorities also urge Nigerians in the Middle East to remain in close contact with the Nigerian diplomatic missions while arrangements are possible for evacuation continue. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has rejected a move by the factional caretaker committee of the Labour Party to dissolve the party's state leadership structures across the country. INEC said such decision does not comply with the provisions of the Electoral Act and the Commission's guidelines regulating the internal affairs of political parties. The development highlights a continued leadership crisis within the Labour Party as rival groups battle for control of its national structure. The presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 elections, Peter Obi, has emphasized the importance of the 2027 general elections, saying they will pit Nigerians against bad leadership. Obi made the remark in Anambra State, where he officially registered as a member of the African Democratic Congress (ADC). The former governor of Anambra State, who has vowed to challenge President Bola Tinubu in the 2027 elections, also called on Nigerians to participate in the ongoing online registration of the ADC. The Inspector General of Police, Olatunji Reowan Disu, has approved the appointment of Deputy Commissioners of Police Anthony Okon Placid as the new Force Public Relations Officer of the Nigerian Police Force. The appointment places the seasoned officer at the forefront of managing the image and public communication of the force. The newly appointed police spokesperson was enlisted into the Nigerian Police Force as a cadet assistant superintendent of police at the Nigeria Police Academy, Kano, in 1996 and commissioned 2 years later in 1998. Over the years, he has served in key positions within and outside Nigeria, including peacekeeping and training roles with the United Nations Mission in Darfur and African Union Mission in Sudan, bringing a wealth of operational and strategic experience to his new responsibility. Nigeria's First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, joined thousands of women in Akwa Ibom for the 2026 International Women's Day celebration in Uyo, where President Bola Tinubu received an endorsement for a second term in office. Speaking at the event attended by more than 5,000 participants, the First Lady described the theme, Right Justice, Actions for All Women and Girls, as a call for greater commitments to gender equality and empowerment. The rally also featured endorsements for Governor Omoino and Senate President Godswill Akpabio, while the First Lady inaugurated a senior citizen center named in her honor. Nigeria has joined the global community to mark the 2026 International Women's Day with the federal government reaffirming its commitment to advancing the rights, economic empowerment, and political inclusion of women and girls across the country. Minister of Women Affairs and Social Development Imam Suleiman Ibrahim made this known while flagging off the month-long activities in Abuja. Our correspondent Dia Yakubu reports.
The Federal Ministry of Women Affairs in Abuja formally launched Nigerians' activities for the 2026 International Women's Day and Women's Month celebration. Flagging off the commemoration, the Minister of Women Affairs and Social Development, Imam Suleiman Ibrahim, described the occasion as more than a celebration, noting that it is a call for reflection on progress made and the urgent work required to advance gender equity in Nigeria. She affirmed the ministry's commitment under the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to building a nation where families are stable, women and girls are empowered to realize their full potential, and every child is protected and given the opportunity to thrive.
Let me take this moment to thank the Nigerian press, whose courage, diligence, and commitment to truth amplifying the voices of women and vulnerable holds institutions accountable, shapes public discourse. Although gender-sensitive reporting has historically been limited, recent years have seen a gradual improvement, with more Nigerian media outlets dedicating greater attention to women issues and gender equality.
According to the minister, the 2020's global theme, Bright, Justice, Action for All Women and Girls, alongside the campaign slogan, Give to Gain, underscores the need to institutionalize equity, enforce justice, and ensure that commitments translate into measurable progress. She added that empowering women remains critical to national development, citing an International Finance Corporation estimate that closing the gender financing gap for women-owned SMEs could unlock about $14.8 billion annually for Nigeria's economy.
Today, Nigeria stands as such a pivotal moment where intention, preparation, and structure are aligning to advance the rights, the dignity, and opportunities for women, families, children, and the vulnerable groups in Nigeria.
Also speaking, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, said the event demonstrates government's resolve to advance policies and programs that protect rights, promote justice, and deliver concrete opportunities for women, children, and vulnerable groups nationwide.
I want to commend you on driving the social impact interventions that you have. I commend your dedication, your leadership.
However, stakeholders noted that women's representation in elective positions remains low, stressing that the proposed reserved special seats bill could provide a historic pathway for inclusive governance by addressing structural barriers limiting women's political participation. Sadia Yakubu for Global Television News.
As the world marks International Women's Day, organizations are highlighting the vital role of women in driving innovation, leadership, and community development. Design and creative firm Erogen Design says the occasion provides an opportunity to celebrate the strength, resilience, and remarkable contributions of women whose dedication and creativity continues to shape businesses and communities. The company also expressed appreciation to women everywhere, noting that recognizing and empowering women remains essential to building inclusive societies and sustainable growth. Operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency have arrested a former councillor in Ibeju, Lekki local government area of Lagos State, Sheleru Olalenka, over alleged involvement in illicit drug trafficking. The agency said the arrest forms part of ongoing operations targeting networks linked to distribution and movement of illegal substances in the states. Authorities say the investigations are ongoing to determine the extent of the suspect's involvement and possible connections with other drug trafficking operations. As this year's Ramadan fast enters the final lap, Muslims have been advised to redouble efforts in prayers and other acts of worship. This is because of the belief that the last 10 days, well observed, warrants freedom from hellfire. In this report, Global Television correspondent Shehu Said examines the significance of the last 10 days of Ramadan.
The last 10 days of Ramadan is considered the most rewarding in terms of acts of worship and charity. It is the period which attracts the Night of Majesty. What is the Night of Majesty? Imam of the National Mosque, Sheikh Muhammad Kabir, provides an answer.
Bismillah wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina Rasulillah. The Night of Majesty, the Quranic language call it Laylatul Qadr. That is the Night of Majesty. Night of Majesty is the night in which Allah in His infinite mercy revealed the Holy Quran from the Book of Destiny, that is Lawhul Mahfuz, to a place in the space. We call it Baytul Izzah. That Night of Majesty is very, very important to the life of Muslims, because whoever did any righteousness, be it prayer, supplication, or giving out something to help others, whatever kind of kindness, will be double like that of 1,000 month. One night is equivalent to 1,000 month. That's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Holy Quran. He says, Laylatul Qadri khayrun min alfi shahr. The Night of Majesty is better than 1,000 month. Another verse of the Quran says, Fiha yufraqu kullu amrin hakim. In that Night of Majesty, Allah in His infinite mercy used to make budget or plan for the year that is ahead. That is from this Ramadan to the next one. So the budget or plan of the year will take place on that very night.
Which acts of worship are more encouraged from Muslims within this period?
This last 10 days is a night in which everybody is encouraged to rise up to wake up in the night, offer special prayers. We call it tahajjud. It is very, very encouraging.
As the Ramadan fast draws near to an end, Muslims should take advantage of this period to be closer to Allah in order to achieve good in this world and in the hereafter. Shehu Said, reporting for Global Television News.
Imo State's Governor, Hope Uzodinma, has reaffirmed his administration's commitments to improving the welfare of local government workers as the Nigeria Union of Local Government Employees celebrates Norge Week in the state. Our Global Television correspondent Amarachi Ibe brings us the details.
Speaking at the event in Owerri, the Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma commended members of the Nigeria Union of Local Government Employees for their dedication to service at the grassroots, noting that effective local government administration remains vital to sustainable development. The governor emphasized that his administration will continue to prioritize workers' welfare, capacity building, and improve workers' conditions for local government employees across the state.
I only did what any well-meaning governor should do. The payment of workers' salaries is what workers deserve. Obviously, these are not favors. Rather, they are statutory obligations that every responsible government must do. But since on the basis of this, you've decided to honor me, I will accept the honor with happiness.
The national president of the Nigeria Union of Local Government Employees, Aliyu Haruna, highlighted the critical role of local government employees in driving development and ensuring that government policies reach communities at the grassroots. He stressed the need for sustained investment in workers' welfare, training and capacity building to enhance productivity within the local government workforce. The president described the week-long celebration as an opportunity to reflect on achievements of the union while chanting a stronger path for improved labor relations and effective grassroots governance.
Your Excellency, when history is written about the advancement of local government administration in Imo State, your name will stand out prominently. This is because your administration has shown uncommon commitment to strengthening the local government system and improving the welfare of those who serve at the critical level of government. One of the most remarkable achievements of your administration is the restoration of peace and stability within Norgi in Imo State.
The event also featured the recognition of outstanding workers who have demonstrated exceptional dedication and commitment to service across various local government areas. As labor leaders, government officials, and local government staff gathered to celebrate their contributions and reflect on the vital role of grassroots workers on strengthening governance and delivering essential services to communities. From Owerri, Amarachi Ibe, reporting for Global TV News.
You're watching the live broadcast of News Cycle. News Cycle continues after this weather forecast. We'll come back with business, foreign, and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please do stay with us.
It's shaping up to be a bright and sunny Sunday across the country with no Harmattan dust haze in sight. Temperatures will stay high from the northern region all the way down to the cities, with the hottest spot expected in Taraba State, reaching about 41 degrees Celsius. Meanwhile, there's a slight chance of rainfall in parts of Ogun State, the southern parts of Ondo, Lagos, Delta, and Cross River State. And that's your weather update. Remember to stay hydrated, keep cool, and always be weather-wise.
So let's go to business. The Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission says electricity distribution companies generated a combined revenue of 207.49 billion naira in December of 2025. The regulator said the figure reflects payments collected by distribution companies from electricity consumers across the country during the month. Analysts say the revenue performance highlights both the rising cost of electricity and ongoing challenges within the Nigeria's power distribution sector. A House of Representatives probe into the proposed $18 billion refinery project has reportedly stalled amid allegations that the Nigerian National Petroleum Company is failing to cooperate with investigators. Lawmakers say repeated requests for key documents and clarifications on the project have not been fully honored by the state's oil firm. The committee warned that continued delays could undermine transparency and accountability in the country's petroleum sector. We go to the foreign scene now. Authorities in Nairobi are battling widespread flooding after heavy overnight rains submerged roads and disrupted movements in parts of the Kenyan capital. Emergency services say drainage systems were overwhelmed as water levels rose rapidly in several neighborhoods. Officials have urged residents in flood-prone areas to maintain cautious as weather forecasts warned of additional rainfall. The United States and Israel have carried out overnight strikes on 5 oil facilities in and around the Iranian capital of Tehran, intensifying the ongoing conflict in the region. Reports indicate that at least 4 people were killed in the attacks, which targeted critical energy infrastructure. The strike comes amid escalating military exchanges between Iran and its adversaries, raising fears of further regional instability. U.S. President Donald Trump has blamed Iran for a deadly strike on a school in the southern Iranian town of Minab as tensions continue to rise amid the widening conflict in the Middle East. Speaking to reporters aboard Air Force One, Trump said early indications suggest that the attack may have been carried out by Iranian forces themselves. Global Television Mukhtar Qasim reports.
The United States president made the remarks while responding to questions from journalists during a flight on Air Force One, where he addressed the growing regional crisis and the latest report of civilian casualties. Trump suggested that the strike that hit an elementary school in Minab may have been caused by Iranian munitions, describing Tehran's weapon system as inaccurate.
That was done by Iran, because they're very inaccurate, as you know, with their munitions. They have no accuracy whatsoever. It was done by Iran.
Trump also commented on the broader conflict, warning against further escalation involving other armed groups in the region. He specifically said the Kurdish forces should not be drawn into the fighting, noting that expanding the number of actors involved could worsen the situation.
I don't want to see the Kurds get hurt, get killed. We've had a good relation. They're willing to go in, but I've told them I don't want them to go in.
The remarks comes as the Middle East conflict continues to escalate, with international observers warning that further military involvement by regional groups could widen the war and deepen humanitarian crisis. Mokhtar Kasim, reporting for Global Television News.
Let's go to sports now. The rising security tensions in the Middle East could force the relocations of an invitational tournament involving Nigeria's Super Eagles, originally scheduled to take place in Jordan later this month. The Super Eagles were expected to face Iran in Amman on March the 27th, 2026, before playing host to Jordan 4 days later, but as part of preparations for the upcoming World Cup qualifiers. However, organizers are now considering moving either the Nigerian-Jordan match or an entire tournament to Europe amid growing security concerns linked to the ongoing regional conflicts. Players of the Nigeria's Super Falcons have criticized the Confederation of African Football over the latest postponement of the Women's African Cup of Nations. Captain Rasheedat Ajibade and several teammates described the repeated delays as damaging to the credibility and development of women football on the continent. The players called on the African football authorities to provide better planning and stronger institutional support for the women's game. That's it on News Cycle. A quick reminder, Global TV is on DSTV channel 365. We are also on StarTimes channel 276. Kindly do follow us across all social media platforms on your screen. Please use @Global TV NG. I am Ubong Usoro. Bye for now.